Welcome to a series of basics of interpretation of statutes. In this video, we will talk about the interpretation of penal statutes. Penal statutes are those statutes जहाँ पे one the punishment is given to a person. Punishment can be fine, imprisonment, life imprisonment, or death. Imprisonment can be simple imprisonment and rigorous imprisonment. Secondly, if a person is punished or held guilty for an offense, then certain disqualification attached to that person. For example, he cannot appear for government exams or contest an election, and others disqualification will attach to that person. Now, if we talk about punishment of life imprisonment or death sentence, in that case, the life and liberty of the person is affected. And if we talk about fine, in that case, though the life and liberty is not affected, but the disqualification will be attached to the person depending upon the offense for which he is held guilty. Therefore, in case of penal statute, we apply the strict rule of interpretation. Now, strict interpretation says that a person can be convicted for an offense only if in all cases his act fall under the provision of the law. Only then he can be made liable. If there is any doubt that whether the act falls under the law or not, in that case the benefit should be given to the accused. So if two interpretations are possible of a penal statute, one which favors the accused and the one which goes against the accused, in that case the interpretation which is favorable for the accused should be given and the one which is opposing the accused should be ignored. This is the strict rule of interpretation. Let's understand that the strict rule of interpretation with case laws. Now, the first case is with regard to the Factories Act. Now, Section Factories Act says that a person shall not be permitted to enter to a confined place where there are chances of dangerous fumes. In case certain laborers entered to the pit to stop the leakage of dangerous fumes, and as a result, they died. When the inspector inspected the premises of the factory, he noticed that there was availability of ropes, belts, and other appliances, which helped the laborers to go to the pit to stop the leakage. Now, the question arises whether the employer can be made punishable for the offense or not. Now, in this case, the court said that here the word use is permitted, which means he allowed the workers to go to the place. But in the present case, the employer has not stopped the laborers to enter to a place. So, mere non-stopping the laborers cannot be called permitted. The court strictly construed the provision and held that the employer cannot be made liable for the offense. When we talk about strict rule of interpretation, it is applicable only when two different interpretation is possible. But in cases where only one interpretation is possible, in that case we cannot apply the strict rule of interpretation. Now, in a case, person is convicted for an offense of selling adulterated food under the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act. When the matter reached to the Supreme Court, he contended that he was not aware about the food being adulterated. Now, here the court referred Section 16, which penalizes the act of selling adulterated food, and Section 19, which says that the knowledge of the person that the food is adulterated or not is irrelevant. Now, if we read Section 16 along with Section 19, it says that selling of adulterated food is a absolute offense where the knowledge or the guilty mind of the person is irrelevant. Now, the court held in this case that by reading Section 16 and 19 together, only one interpretation is possible. So, where there is only one interpretation is possible, the court cannot apply the strict rule of interpretation and can give benefit to the accused. So, here the court upheld the conviction of the accused in this case by not applying the strict rule of interpretation. Difference between literal rule of interpretation and strict rule of interpretation. Literal rule says that the provision should be given ordinary, popular, or natural meaning while interpreting any provision of law. Whereas strict rule says where two interpretations are possible, we should interpret the law in the favor of the accused. Now, the second difference is literal rule is applicable on all kind of laws, whereas strict rule is applicable only in case of penal statutes or taxing statutes, because both leads to penalty to the person. For more such videos, please like, share and subscribe.